If you've ever asked yourself the question, what is it like to live life as my higher self? How will I know when I'm there? How do I get there in the first place, and how do I actually maintain it once I get there? If you've ever asked yourself these questions, you're not alone, because these are the questions I've been receiving before an event I'm hosting this Wednesday called Becoming Your Higher Self. It's happening online by Zoom video. It's totally free to join. You can learn more about it in the description of this video. I'm actually recording this video for my students and my clients because they've been asking me this question in questionnaires and surveys and in my email list, like, what is it like to live life as my higher self? What is it like to feel enlightened? What is it like to feel safe no matter what's happening in the world? What's it like to feel grounded? What's it like to have faith even though it looks like the world's going crazy? And so this video is going to be my answer to some of those questions. And before I get into those answers, I just want to say you shouldn't blindly believe anything I say. I encourage you to question everything. Don't blindly believe anything I'm going to share with you in this video, because I'm just a reflection of your consciousness. I'm just a character in your video game helping you wake up to the truth of what you are. What I'm here to do is just encourage you to question yourself and find your own truth inside of you. My name is Ricky Goodall, but that's not really who I am. That's just the identity or character I created to fit into the world. I created this identity, Ricky Goodall, since the time I was born, and I've been creating beliefs and fears and failures and setbacks and successes and all sorts of mental programs that create this identity or character I call Ricky Goodall, but that's not really who I am. Who I really am, I believe, is God, creator, or conscious universe manifested as a higher self, pretending to be Ricky Goodall. When I live life as Ricky Goodall, I live limited by his failures, by his successes, by his limiting beliefs, by his fears, and by all of the programs he created about who he is. But when I live life as the higher self, I become limitless. I rise beyond my limitations, I connect to a higher level of consciousness, and I'm no longer bound by the restrictions of Ricky Goodall's life. This is what it means to live life as a higher self. It means that you are not on the receiving end of the reality around you. Reality is not happening to you. Reality is happening from you. When you live life as a higher self, or when I live life as my higher self, I'm not looking at my external reality as something that's happening to me. I'm looking at it as if it's something that's happening from me. When I get triggered by other people, I don't blame them for the triggers, at least not eventually, maybe at first, because those triggers can be convincing sometimes. When I live life as my higher self, I recognize that they are not the source of the trigger, that my nervous system, my pain, my unprocessed trauma from the past is the source of the trigger. They are just the stimulus. They are stimulating the trigger that exists inside of me. Really, when I live life as my higher self, reality is neutral, and I am the source of my reality. I am the source of my experience around me. And so I know I'm living life as my higher self when I'm living in unity. And I know a lot of these terms are like airy-fairy, spiritual woo-woo terms. I heard them for a long time. I was frustrated. I didn't get it. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't have a way of actually embodying it and living it in my own life. But as I started to do my own work and dig deeper and get into my consciousness, I started to learn, okay, there's really something to this. And now, I just had a conversation with my roommate, my really close friend, Alen. I was having this conversation about, I have this curse of knowledge. I have this curse of living my day-to-day life almost completely as my higher self. Now, I'll be transparent. I'm not completely free yet from some of the programs, some of the triggers that I'm still healing. I don't consider myself completely free, but I do consider myself living from that place the majority of the time, because I have the tools to get myself out of the triggering experiences. So if I find myself triggered, if I find myself swept up in a drama where I'm living in a state of duality, I have the internal tools, I've installed the subconscious habits to get myself out of that state of consciousness, to get myself back to a state of unity. And so now I get to play the game from a different level. Instead of playing the game as Ricky Goodall, I play the game as the higher self plugged into Ricky Goodall. And maybe someday I'll play the game as just the higher self. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not attached to that. But I know that when I live life as the higher self plugged into Ricky Goodall, I live a deeper level of unconditional love for myself and others and even my worst enemies. I'm able to access a state of compassion for myself no matter what mistakes I experience in the present moment, and no matter what mistakes those around me create in the present moment. If somebody does something to me that causes me pain or frustrates me or causes me to feel resentful toward them, I'm able to reach a deeper level of compassion. I'm also able to reach a deeper level of forgiveness for myself, for the ones who have hurt me in the past, for everyone, even in the entire world. The worst, most evil, sick, sadistic people in the world, I'm able to find forgiveness for. Because I recognize that what's happening to them is happening through them. And what they're doing to create pain for others is something that's happening to them at the same time. Because I've learned that all of the ways that I create pain for myself and others are a result of Ricky Goodall's traumas and programmings. You see, Ricky had a hard life. He's been through a lot in his life, and I'm sure that you have too. And so I recognize that all of the ways that Ricky has caused pain for himself and others are ways that Ricky has received pain in his life. And so to live life as the higher self is to live from a place of knowing that I'm not Ricky, that Ricky is the character I've been playing, and Ricky's behaviors are also not my behaviors. Those are behaviors that were happening almost automatically, almost like being on autopilot. Ricky had trauma inside of his nervous system. When an event would happen in his external reality that would trigger that trauma in his nervous system, Ricky would behave in the only way he knew how. So he would behave in ways that sometimes caused him or others pain as a way of protecting himself from experiencing similar traumas in the past. And this is just how Ricky lives his life, because he went through a lot. And so as I begin to disconnect from Ricky's dramas and Ricky's traumas, and I begin to heal his unprocessed pain and give him space to feel supported and safe in his life, and as I relax his nervous system and get him to a place of unity and oneness and recognizing that he is everything in his reality, then Ricky's nervous system begins to relax and I begin to live through his character. And when I live through Ricky's character, I live at peace. I feel at home everywhere I go. I make friends everywhere I go. I don't see anyone as a stranger or an enemy. I see everyone as a friend in the making. I see all of my challenges as opportunities. I don't see them as walls. I don't see it as suffering. I see it as an opportunity to grow and to discover a more expansive way to live my life. Every challenge I face is a more expansive way to live my consciousness. It's a more expansive way to apply my truth to the world. So when I see the world going through all of the things that it's going through, I recognize that this is my consciousness evolving. It's not something I have to be afraid of. It's not as if there are enemies out there who are going to soon come and hurt me. That doesn't exist because I am everything in my experience of reality. So when I live life as the higher self, I feel safe. I feel protected. I feel supported. And so you might be asking the question, well, how do I get there then? How do I get to this place of living life as my higher self? And I've got a little diagram I'm going to go over here to help you understand that. But let me just say, this diagram is only going to do so much. It's only going to give you a basic idea of what it means to become your higher self and how to actually maintain that. It's very important that you do the work on yourself. And what I mean by the work is the deep work, the deep healing work, the spiritual work, the work that we can't do alone. We need others to help us with this work. We can get really far alone and we can continue the work alone, but we need guides to help us along the way, to help us get to the next level. I still have guides, healers, coaches, teachers, friends, colleagues, family, people helping me get to the next level in my life. I can't do it alone, and I don't believe that any of us can do it alone. We can get really far alone, but we can't get all the way alone. So there's a really simple diagram that can help you understand how to get to the place of your higher self and how to maintain that state. So this diagram, you may have seen it before if you've been watching my work for a while. It's called the Pentagram. And so this is the 5-pointed star, and right here is the place of your ego. So if you imagine that the 5-pointed star is your higher self, and this is your lower self or your ego. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. We have a head, we have 2 hands, we have two feet, and in the pentagram we have 2 bottom points, 2 upper points, and then a middle point. So it's kind of like a diagram of the human being. Now it's not the same as this pentagram. This is a different pentagram. It means something very different. With 2 points pointing up, that means duality. It's a totally different diagram, but with 1 point pointing up, it represents unity. And so this diagram can represent the 5 dimensions of a human being. So we have the spiritual dimension or the spiritual body. This is like your life force energy, your chi, your prana, the energy, the electricity that moves through your body. It's your willpower. It's your connection to spirit, your connection to God, creator, or conscious universe. Then we have your emotional dimension. This is the center of your pleasure and pain. This is like your nervous system. This is your actual ability to experience emotions. It's represented by the element water. This is represented by the element fire. Then we have your mental dimension. This is your beliefs, your thoughts, your language patterns, your words. It's your intellect, it's your intelligence, it's the mind. And then we have your physical dimension. This is your actual physical body. So this is the toxins in your body. It's the tension in your body. It's the trauma in your body. If you've got a real bum neck, or if you've got a bad shoulder, or if you've got pain in your lower back, this is all energy trapped in your physical dimension. And then we have the ethereal dimension, or the consciousness. So these are the 5 dimensions of the higher self, or of the superhuman being. So we have the spiritual dimension, the emotional dimension, the mental dimension, the physical dimension, and the consciousness dimension. This is where your programming that keeps you stuck in this realm is stored. So in your spiritual dimension, it's your fears. When you're steeped in fear, if you're really afraid of what's happening in the world right now, if you're really afraid of death, or you're really afraid of rejection, or you're really afraid of being abandoned or betrayed, it means that you still have fear trapped in your spiritual dimension, in your spiritual body. And so those fears have to be faced fully in order to be purged. If they aren't faced fully, they keep you trapped in your character. They keep you trapped in your human paradigm. They keep you trapped in the human realm, in the realm of duality. If you still have trauma and unhealed pain and guilt and resentment and shame trapped inside of your emotional body, that's going to keep you stuck in your character. It's going to keep you stuck living as your human self. In my case, living as Ricky Goodall. If you have limiting beliefs that you're not worthy of love, that you're not good enough, that you're a failure, that you suck, that you're a loser, whatever, any kind of limiting beliefs that keep you trapped in a lower frame of consciousness is going to keep you stuck in that lower realm, in that lower self. If you have toxins, heavy metals, bacterial viruses, if you have any kind of diseases that are unhealed, they're going to keep you in a lower frequency, a lower vibration. And then finally, if you're still stuck in the consciousness of duality, if you still think it's you versus the world, and that you and I are separate, and that I'm not just a reflection of your consciousness, then you're stuck in unity consciousness. You're stuck in this consciousness instead of this consciousness, and so you're going to be stuck in this reality. You're going to be stuck in the lower dimension of reality. You're going to be stuck as a lower self. Instead of living as the higher self, living here where you're one with everything, you feel at home everywhere. You have total unconditional faith and love, compassion, and forgiveness for everyone and everything in the world, because you know that you are protected by the divine. You are one with all there is. If you're not feeling that, if you don't feel like you're one with all there is, then you're here. You're in the world of duality. So you're either in this world, the world of duality, or you're in this world, the world of unity. And don't worry, if you're in this world, I think we all start there. So at least you're starting, at least you're having this conversation, at least you're considering these ideas. So if you're living in this world, the world of duality, the world of the upside down pentagram, then the work is to heal and cleanse these bodies. You have to heal the stuff, the trapped emotion in these bodies, because if you have fear, then you're going to live in fear. You're either living in a state of love or faith, or you're living in a state of fear. So if you're living in a state of fear, you can't live in a state of love, not fully, because every ounce of fear, it takes away an ounce of love, or maybe 10 ounces of love, or maybe a pound of love. Fear is detrimental. Fear is the thing that keeps us in the lowest frequency of all. So we have to face our fears. We have to face our pain. We have to transform our beliefs. We have to heal our body. We have to become in command of this animal that we call ourselves, because this body is not really me, it's the lower self. And this body is almost like an animal. It wants everything. You know, it wants to eat whatever it wants to eat. It wants to drink whatever it wants to drink. It wants to have sex with whatever it wants to have sex with. It wants to do whatever it wants to do, and it doesn't like when I tell it no. It wants to be a ravenous animal. It wants to just give in to all of its carnal, animalistic, impulsive desires. It wants to just be an animal. Really, it does. But when we gain command over the physical body, when we gain command over the animal, when we purge the limiting beliefs, when we process the unhealed pain, when we face the fears, then we rise and become one with everything. We access unity consciousness. And when that happens, we find that we're home. We find that we never left, that our family was always here, that we are always protected by God, creator of conscious universe. We recognize that the truth is always inside of us. We were never disconnected from it. We were just walking back home. We were just remembering the truth of what we are. We were just coming back to the truth, coming back to oneness, coming back to unity where we always were. You see, it's just a game, right? It's just a game. This is just Ricky Goodall, the character, playing the game of the higher self. The higher self is love because love is all there is. All of the other characters in the game are just here to remind me that I'm playing a game. They're just here to support my game experience. I'm not in any danger. There's no danger around me. The greatest danger there is my fear and my pain and my trauma and my limiting beliefs. And when I face those, when I do the work to face the dark parts of myself, then I shed light on them. And when I shed light on them, everything changes. So what does it feel like to live life as your higher self? Well, it feels like being at home. And maybe that's not something maybe the word home doesn't resonate well for you. Maybe home was tough. It was tough for me growing up. And there was a lot of love, but there was a lot of pain too. There was a lot of affection, but there's also a lot of trauma. So maybe the word home doesn't resonate well for you. Maybe that's the work for you, is to believe that maybe there's another meaning for home. Maybe there's another meaning for what it means to be safe. Maybe there's another meaning for what it means to be in paradise, or what I call heaven on earth. Because when we live as the higher self, or when I live as the higher self, I feel like I'm in heaven on earth. I feel like I'm in paradise. There could be a war happening around me and I don't see it. I don't perceive it. I don't live life in that dimension. I live life from a higher place. I live life from a different world. I see the world from a completely different perspective. So what is it like to live life as a higher self? It feels like being free. It feels like being liberated. It feels like being at peace, feeling joy for no reason, feeling happiness for really no reason. It's what the shamans in Peru, my beautiful mentors and friends, call absolute happiness. It's happiness for no good reason. It's happiness just because. It's not happiness when I eat the food, when I drink the drink, when I smoke the thing, when I have the date. It's not happiness when I get the raise. It's not happiness when I get the money. It's not happiness when I go to the place. It's happiness for no damn good reason. It's just happy because. It's a sense of freedom. Freedom from the need to get my validation and my happiness externally, and the ability to generate that happiness internally, inside. It's the ability to no longer be triggered by the people that used to get under my skin. It's the ability to do the things that I used to be afraid of as if there's no fear whatsoever present in the experience. It's the ability to express myself like I'm doing right now without rehearsing myself, without needing to obsess and analyze what I'm going to say, without needing to write notes and prepare. It's just me showing up as I am and knowing that that's enough. Living life as a higher self is living like the child who got all of the love and the care and the support and the nurturing that they should have gotten. It's the child growing up fully protected, fully provided for, fully accepted by the ones around them, by the loved ones, by the parents, by the brothers and sisters, by the friends, by society. It's growing up in a world without war. It's growing up in a world without violence. It's growing up in a world without lack and scarcity. When I live as the higher self, there's nothing like it. Because when I live as the higher self, I am home. I am home. Truly home. I hope that answers some of your questions. For those of you who are asking this question, I appreciate your responses and feedback. If you have other questions, if you watch this video, if you're watching it on Facebook, or maybe you're watching it on Instagram, or maybe you're watching it on YouTube, if you have questions about what does it mean to live as a higher self, what does it mean to live enlightened, what does it mean to live absolute happiness, what does it mean to live liberated, please ask those questions in the comment section of this video. They will help me understand how to express it to you in a way that will help you understand it too. I have my own understanding, my own perspective. You don't need my help. You have the truth inside of you, but maybe my perspective can help you understand it at a deeper level too. So if you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer them for you. And if you're seeing this video before March 16th, and you want to join us at Becoming Your Higher Self, there are some spaces left. There's no cost to join, but the spaces are running out fast. So check out the link in the description or maybe the comment section of this video, and you'll see how you can join the event. It's totally free. It happens on Wednesday, March 16th from 2 to 5 p.m. Cancun time. That's 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. Or if you're in Canada, if you're in Nova Scotia where I'm from, it's 4 to 7 Atlantic time. So I'd love to see you there. Again, it's totally free. It's online by Zoom video. You can learn more about it if you sign up in the link below. And thank you for watching this video. Again, I'd love to hear your feedback. And if this video landed for you, please share it with somebody you think would benefit. Thanks, everyone.